Hey guys, hope everyone's doing okay today. So this is a developing situation on Twitter right now regarding Tekken and Harada. He's been putting out a lot of tweets about the direction of season 2 and what they're planning on doing for the new update. And I've got to say, I really like what I'm reading from Harada. Now I know their track record has not been great in terms of sticking to what they say, but I'm going to take what he's saying at face value here and just look over how he's handling the situation. So we're going to start at the top and work our way through the tweets, although because this is an ongoing situation, there's probably going to be tweets that I don't cover just because he's probably tweeting right now. But you get the gist of it, and then obviously you can go over to his Twitter page and you can check out what he's saying. So obviously the May patch is coming up. A lot of us miss playing Tekken in the big lobbies like we were, and we want season 2 to sort of like be closer to season 1, even though that's not great, or just receive the necessary patches to make it playable. And obviously the responses to season 2 have been extremely negative, almost overwhelmingly negative. There are very few people that are like Tekken diehards that actually like it, and most casuals that I've spoken to dislike the season 2 update as well. And then the subsequent patches that followed it caused even more problems. So it's been a bit of a dumpster fire, and Tekken's not been doing great. The boycott did a lot of damage to the game in my opinion. The numbers have been continuously dropping off. We've been seeing people reporting it on Twitter saying that they're losing about 200 to 400 players a day, and the numbers keep on going down. So for the people saying the boycott is not going to do anything or it was pointless, well, they were wrong. The boycott definitely had a negative effect on this game, and even veteran players have reported saying that wait times are longer. So people have voted with their wallets, and I have seen some people saying, well, you bought already, what are you boycotting? Well, there's a store in the game, there's a battle pass in the game, and there's this thing called player retention which companies pay attention to, and if all of those things are affected by a boycott, then it is going to work. So make no mistake, what happened with Tekken in the last few months has made a massive difference, and we're going to see that now in the tweets based on how Harada is responding. So we're going to start here with Nee, and Nee tweeted out saying, season 2 has a lot of homing and follow-up attacks, and homing moves are less risky now. When a homing attack success, the reward is also quite high. Some characters' stacks are too powerful, while characters without stack mechanics feel very disadvantaged. Some guard break moves are also hard to deal with and carry little risk. Why do you keep making it harder to play defense? Honestly, there are so many homing attacks that it's getting harder to play the game like a true 3D game. Some characters can be played almost like spam with little risk, and their play still works. The size of the maps doesn't really matter. Most of the time you can get to the wall with just 2 spins. I don't understand why heat recovery for some characters. Meanwhile, other characters consume heat so quickly that it disappears almost instantly. I think these things lower the overall quality of the fighting game. I don't want to speak negatively about the game, but it's very stressful to play and hard to have fun with. Now that is arguably the greatest player in the world with arguably the most knowledge on Tekken that we've ever seen, giving a very scathing review of season 2, and he's not lying there, he's completely telling the truth. When you boil it down, season 2 of Tekken 8 has bastardized what Tekken is. Now Harada's response was very interesting to me. He responded by saying, I have confirmed my perception of this matter with the battle and tuning teams. They seem to understand your frustrations and are working to improve, so please give them a little more time. So that's kind of like Harada agreeing with him, saying that yeah, this direction we've gone in is not where we need to go. Now whether that's because of the boycott, because of a loss of revenue, because of the negative media, or because Harada actually had a vision for the game and the people that were doing the battle and tuning weren't listening or getting directions from someone else, either way it's very clear that maybe Harada's original vision, which is, I guess has been the vision of Tekken for a very long time, was the right way to go, and this new route and whoever proposed it is not the right way to go. He then elaborated saying, my post was a bit wordy on this matter to be precise. The battle and tuning team has submitted the first ROMs of the fix for this, and for the first phase of it will be introduced in the May update. Furthermore, after that there will be another update in June that will be related to the defensive side of the game. So we're getting 2 updates in 2 months. They sound like very substantial and big updates, which is again a good thing. This game really does need a lot of work to bring people back in, and I've said multiple times I'm not completely done with it yet. Although I haven't played it since season 2 came out, I am more than happy to go back to it if they push it in a direction that everybody's going to be happy with. It's never going to be at the level we want it to be, simply because heat is a mechanic that is unwelcomed by the Tekken community at large, but it can definitely get to a better place. We did play through season 1 and we had hopes, so this is good. This is good to hear that there's going to be substantial updates going forward, and we're going to be playing a more refined game through 2025. This individual tweeted to Harada saying, Harada, honestly, does the team even know what they want with Tekken 8? Every new patch seems like a new experiment. The disconnect between the player base and the development team is worrying, and he's not wrong there. The disconnect is very clear. They seem to have gone in one way and we weren't happy with it, and we pushed back and asked them to go in a different direction. So much so that people even just wanted to give up on Tekken 8 and ask for re-releases of pre-existing Tekken games, which seems to be something they're entertaining now because of all of the backlash as well. So us speaking up on Twitter, doing the boycott, making the YouTube videos has made a difference. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Now, obviously, there's a way to go about it. Obviously, people are frustrated. I don't think effing and blinding at the developers is the way to go, but definitely making your voice heard has made a difference in this scenario. Harada responded with, 8 was challenging in some aspects with a new team for battle and tuning, but we have returned the team structure to the members of the past. In addition, the director Nakatsu, who we all know and love, is now able to check and improve all tuning and detail. He was short on time as general manager, but now he gives final approval for every detail of battles and tuning. As you all know, he originally comes from the fan community and was a writer for game magazines and strategy articles, and was also in charge of battles and tuning for Tag 2 and 7. So I don't think there's anything to worry about in the future. Now, this is the most interesting tweet out of everything that I'm going to cover today, because I don't know if what Harada has just said is that they've restructured the team and kept the same people, or what it actually sounds like now that I look at it again, return to members of the past. Does that mean that a bunch of people were fired that were new to Tekken 8 and they've brought back on the Tekken 6, Tag 2 or 7 team? It's saying here Nakatsu is returning to a role where he makes final approvals. Obviously, he was very instrumental in Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 7 when it comes to the battling and the fine-tuning of the game. So I don't know if Tekken 8 has flipped its script on its team, which is going to be very interesting because we might be getting a completely different Tekken 8, which is very exciting to hear, because the new team and the direction they were sending it in is not something that we want for Tekken. That's also a lot of information to put on Twitter. I know people are going to interpret that in many different ways. I spoke to Chad the Third after this, and even he said that, yeah, this looks like the team has been taken out or removed from those duties and maybe put somewhere else, and the original team has been put back in. That's music to my ears as far as I'm concerned, and it's kind of cool that Harada shared that information. It remains to be seen what happens. We can only hope that he's telling the truth there. We shall see as we go forward. This individual called FFF+2 Simp, crazy name, said, you don't need members of the past, you outright need an entire new team, including you, Murray, and Nakatsu. The identity of Tekken has gone down the toilet because of your arrogance and greed. Now, obviously, that's quite a disrespectful thing to tweet at him directly. But I also think it's kind of a disconnected take, because members of the past would relate to people that worked on previous Tekken games, and previous Tekken games were well received. If they bring in members of the past, they have Nakatsu doing what he was doing in Tag 2 or Tekken 7, then we're not going to have a problem. Yeah, there were issues with Tag 2, obviously there were issues with Tekken 7, but they were very fun games, which is where Tekken 8 is lacking right now. And so if they bring in members of the past that made these games fun, I don't see what the problem is. Now, to my surprise, Harada responded to that, and he said, so that's what happened with that new team. Also, I already know that you don't need me for much longer. I've been trying to resolve this for the last few years, so wait. Now, it made me kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it made me feel kind of way when he said that. Like, I felt bad, but at the same time, I was also like, you kind of have to take these things on the chin. Like, Harada has had a hot streak for many, many years. Tekken don't miss. That was the common thing you used to hear in the fighting game community. Tekken always hits, you know. They've had a couple speed bumps, you know, Tekken 4 and whatnot, but Tekken doesn't miss. Now he's getting flack for it, and it seems to have affected him a little bit, or maybe a lot. I don't know. I don't know the guy. Now, I don't want Harada to get sacked. I've never expressed that I wanted him to get sacked. I've always expressed that I want him to get his act together or get his team's act together. But I do think he needs to be more open to taking the criticism without the emotional response, because this happens with anything. You can post 1,000 sick videos that people love and you get all the likes and the retweets, but then you post one that's really damning and they shit on you for it. Now, because Harada has been historically loved by the community, he can probably get away with this if Tekken 8 delivers. But at the end of the day, it's a product, and they're going to look at the captain. If the captain's not steering the ship in the right direction, they're going to point the finger at him. What Harada said there in the opening is true. So that's what happened with the new team, as in they brought in a new team, the new team fucked up Tekken, so they're bringing in the old team. So this simp guy, I don't really understand why he's saying you don't need members of the past. That's exactly what we need. We need veterans that understand Tekken to come back and fix this. So I have to say to whoever that is that made that tweet, this simp individual, you're completely wrong. Harada's actually right in that instance. If he's going to bring back the old guard that know what they're doing, that have that 30 years of experience, that understand Tekken's identity, then that's what he should do, and I completely support that. Now, there were some other tweets that he responded to in regards to that one. I'm not going to read them out because they're like more of the same way, saying that people want me to leave, so I'm going to leave. And you know, everyone has their own opinions on that. I'm not going to tell people what to think with regards to that. The last tweet that I do want to point out that I'm surprised he responded to was somebody tweeted out saying, "Fix Lee or we riot." And Harada said the battle team is working on that too. I thought it was fair to highlight this because we have been hypercritical of Tekken 8. We've been hypercritical of how they've behaved on Twitter. I think you give props and respect where props and respect are due. Now, we don't know what the May patch is going to look like. We don't know what the June patch is going to look like. We don't know if the old guard is back in there or if this is just damage control. We have no idea. I will commend Harada for going on Twitter and answering the criticism and having that open dialogue with the community. Because I think when you do things like this and you show people that you're open to being criticized, even if the criticisms are unfair and visceral, they're less likely to criticize you in an unfair and visceral way. I think a lot of the time when people sense weakness, they really go in. But if you show to have a strong demeanor and a strong front, I think people are more willing to not do those things. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse. I don't think that they should do that. I think that conversation should be level-headed. But gotta give the man props. He jumped on Twitter. He answered a bunch of questions. I don't know if he's still answering questions. I don't know if people are still asking him questions. I imagine they probably are. You know, we're almost midway through May, and this patch could help Tekken a lot. And then if the June patch comes out and the defensive options are astronomically buffed, because that's what they need right now, a lot of people will probably return to Tekken 8. I'll return to it. No problem whatsoever. We're probably going to get a new character soon as well. It might be a good turning point for the game. And then from there, you can build and you can restore. Tekken has a rich legacy. We've got Tekken 1 to 8 in the numbered series and then Tag 1 and Tag 2. There's 10 games there. And I'd say 8 of them are universally loved. 4 is controversial, although I really love 4. I think 4 is a beautiful game with some really interesting ideas, with some really poor balancing, which is what people mostly hate about it. But 4 and 8 aside, people love Tekken. So I think that if Harada is changing direction, Nakatsu is going to be paying more close attention to a role that he was in previously, and they're bringing in the old guard and old members of staff that understand Tekken, I think things might be okay. So I'm going to remain hopeful for it. I'm not going to play Season 2. I'm not on a boycott. I just genuinely don't want to play it. Like, I have no interest right now. But when this patch drops, I'll probably stream it and be like, okay, let's check it out. Let's play it. Let's see what's going on. And then we'll give our review from there. We'll keep it 100. And then we'll be in June and we'll get that defensive patch. And then hopefully Tekken 8 will be in a place where everybody can be happy. But you guys let me know what you think about all of this. I'm quite happy that he responded to people like that. But I'd like to hear from you. So let me know and I'll catch you guys very soon. Take care and peace.